Welcome to another episode of English with Tuna, the podcast where we explore the deeper and more practical aspects of learning English in a way that respects your time, your effort, and your intelligence as a dedicated language learner.
And I'm Lena, joining you again today for a conversation that addresses one of the most common struggles faced by learners around the world: the persistent challenge of how to speak English correctly, fluently, and naturally, without being held back by constant grammar mistakes.
Now, when we talk about speaking without grammar mistakes, we're not referring to achieving some theoretical level of perfect speech that no human, not even native speakers, consistently maintains. Rather, we're aiming for clarity, confidence, and correctness that enables real and meaningful communication.
That distinction is crucial, because too often learners measure themselves against unrealistic standards, which leads to frustration, fear of speaking, and ultimately slower progress, when in fact, making mistakes is an essential part of becoming fluent.
1. Understand the function of grammar in spoken English. Grammar, in the context of spoken language, functions not as a rigid set of laws to memorize and obey at all times, but as a flexible system of patterns that helps your listener understand who did what, when, and how clearly and efficiently.
And while it's true that grammar rules give structure to language, spoken English relies far more on familiar patterns, tone, and rhythm than on textbook definitions of tense or aspect, meaning that communication can still succeed even when small errors occur.
2. Use short, clear sentences. One of the most effective and underrated strategies to reduce grammar mistakes when speaking is simply to use short, clear, and complete sentences that express one idea at a time, without unnecessary complexity or ornamentation.
Many learners make more mistakes when they try to create long, complicated sentences with multiple clauses or advanced vocabulary, when instead they could focus on saying something meaningful in simpler terms like, "I went to work," "I met my friend," or "we had lunch together."
3. Practice sentence patterns, not rules. If you've spent years memorizing grammar rules but still struggle to speak accurately, the problem may lie not in your knowledge, but in your practice method, because grammar is best internalized through repeated exposure to full sentence patterns, not isolated theory.
When you practice full sentences like, "I've been working here for 2 years," or "she doesn't like spicy food," your brain starts to absorb the rhythm and logic of English grammar naturally, without needing to recall rules consciously while speaking.
4. Repetition builds grammar memory. Repetition, when done thoughtfully and with clear intention, is one of the most powerful ways to build both fluency and grammatical accuracy, especially when you practice speaking aloud and repeating key sentence structures regularly.
By saying phrases like, "He goes to school every day," "They are watching a movie," or "We used to live in Hanoi," multiple times, you train your mouth, your ear, and your memory to work together, creating an intuitive sense of what sounds correct.
5. Listen to correct English daily. Another cornerstone of improving your spoken grammar is consistent listening to authentic, well-structured English, whether through podcasts, news broadcasts, documentaries, or conversational videos by native speakers who use the language correctly and clearly.
This daily exposure acts as a kind of invisible grammar lesson, allowing your brain to develop a natural awareness of correct sentence structures and word order without the need for conscious grammar study in every situation.
6. Avoid direct translation from your native language. One of the most common sources of grammar mistakes is the habit of translating sentences directly from your native language into English, especially when your language has a very different grammatical system or word order.
This approach often results in sentences that are grammatically incorrect or unnatural in English, such as, I very like coffee, instead of, I like coffee very much, or, she can to sing, instead of, she can sing.
7. Record and review your own speaking. Recording yourself while speaking English, whether during a self-practice session or a casual monologue about your day, is one of the most effective self-correction tools, because it allows you to hear the mistakes you couldn't detect in real time.
When you listen back to your recordings, you can observe patterns in your errors, such as consistently forgetting the s in third-person present tense, or misusing verb forms, and then make a focused effort to improve those specific areas.
8. Ask for feedback from others. While self-awareness is important, external feedback from a teacher, tutor, or speaking partner can be even more valuable, because other people often notice mistakes that you might miss or accept as normal in your speech.
Don't be afraid to ask for corrections. And when you receive feedback, take it seriously but not personally. Each correction is a gift that moves you closer to more accurate and confident communication.
9. Use modern technology to identify mistakes. Thanks to modern technology, English learners now have access to powerful tools like Grammarly, speech analysis apps, and even AI-based conversation partners that can identify and correct grammar mistakes almost instantly.
By using these tools regularly, especially when writing or practicing aloud, you reinforce correct structures in your mind and reduce the chances of repeating the same errors during real conversations. 10. Focus on communication, not perfection. Ultimately, the goal of learning to speak English is not to become a perfect speaker who never makes mistakes, but rather to become a clear, confident communicator who can express thoughts, ask questions, share stories, and build relationships across cultures.
If you delay speaking until your grammar is perfect, you will never speak, but if you allow yourself to speak now, make mistakes, and learn from them, you will grow faster and build the kind of confidence that grammar books alone cannot provide.
So to summarize, the path to speaking English without grammar mistakes is not paved with endless grammar exercises, but with real practice, meaningful repetition, smart listening, and the courage to speak even when you're unsure.
You can start today by choosing a few simple sentences, saying them out loud, recording your voice, listening to a native speaker say the same things, and slowly but steadily building your accuracy from the ground up.
Language learning is not a race, and grammar mastery doesn't happen overnight, but with focused effort and the right mindset, you can absolutely speak English confidently, naturally, and with far fewer mistakes than you thought possible.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of English with Tuna. And we hope this deeper, more practical look at grammar will inspire you to practice daily, speak boldly, and enjoy the process of becoming truly fluent. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and remember, fluency is built on action, not perfection. Bye for now.